Alrighty guys, welcome to Georgia's season ended yesterday. And I have to say something, but I have to give an introduction. Georgia's season ended yesterday against the Gonzaga Bulldogs. What a season it was, right? I mean, NCAA tournament appearance was first time since 2015. It is time for the world famous state of the program. That's right, we address where Georgia went in 2025. Did they exceed your expectations? Are you kind of disappointed how the season went? Or are you like me, ecstatic how it went, just sad it's over? We'll talk all about it right now. So let's start. Georgia had an exhibition game versus UCF, and they rolled. I do not have the final score of that game because I'm on the ESPN app and it don't include exhibitions. First they actually had an exhibition against Charlotte that they won. Asa Newell had 14 points in that game. Then they had the exhibition versus UCF. That game was radio on the Georgia Bulldogs radio network. And then the season started versus Tennessee Tech November 4th. And this was a game that was just so crazy. And it's kind of eerie how crazy it is because it ended up being just like the rest of some of Georgia's games, is that their opponent just couldn't miss. Tennessee Tech did not miss at all in that first half. And earlier in the second half, they really didn't miss. And then thankfully, Georgia was able to keep them at bay at the end and win 83-78. And then after that, the Dogs would play in the Peach State Classic versus Texas Southern and North Florida, where they had no problem at all with these teams, 92-64 and 90-70. Remember how big of a win that North Florida game was at the time, because North Florida had beat South Carolina, and also they were a very sneaky team, and Georgia did not get credit enough for that game. And then after that, it was one of the first big games of the season. It was the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And I tell people this all the time, one of my favorite games of this season was the Georgia Tech game. Georgia goes out versus Georgia Tech. It's blow for blow. And then, at halftime, Georgia has a lengthy lead at halftime, 8 or 9 points. Then Georgia Tech comes out in the second half, and Georgia, completely, they just blew us apart in the first 5 or 6 minutes. Georgia had the blow to start with, the Tech had a blow there. I mean, Tech was punching us straight in the face. That was the first bit of adversity this team would fit through, or would see the entire season, and they fought through it. Went on and decimated Georgia Tech 77-69. It is a great day when you beat Georgia Tech, and we weren't going to lose that game. Then after that, Georgia beat Alabama A&M 93-45, and then this is where considerably everybody says Georgia's best win of the season happened against in the Bahamas. First off, they played Marquette. They lost 80-69. That game was a lot more closer than what the score proves. Marquette was just too good for Georgia, sadly, at that time. Was too good, and we just kept getting, every time we'd make it a 5-point game or an 8-point game, they would run it back out to double digits. So 80-69 was the final score of that game. And then Georgia versus St. John's, 66-63. Georgia gets the win over number 22 St. John's. That was arguably Georgia's biggest win of the season. They play St. John's tough. St. John's does a few things wrong. They turn the ball over more than we do. They have a few missed free throws there. They have a few empty possessions. Georgia takes that game 66-63 after stealing their inbound, or stealing a pass up the court. We get it. We run the clock out. That was Georgia's best wins. And if you want to know anything, this is literally a day right after Georgia's season ended. Rick Pitino and St. John's are still in the NCAA tournament. That proves how good of a win that was. And I'm just saying that was one of Georgia's best wins of the season. Nothing will replace that. That was one of Georgia's best wins of the season. And I'm just so proud of how they played in that game. After that, the Dogs returned home versus Jacksonville. If you guys remember, this was the day after the Georgia Tech football game that went to 8 overtimes. So everybody was already a little tired and weary. Did not matter to University of Georgia basketball, though. They won 102-56. Rolled over the Jacksonville Dolphins. Then after that, the day after the Jacksonville game, they released that they'll be wearing brand new red uniforms, and man, did they look nice. And then they played Notre Dame in the SEC ACC Challenge. This was a big game because it's Georgia and it's Notre Dame. It's the two teams you want to beat. Or two teams you want to play. It's big. It's brand versus brand. Now I know Notre Dame and Georgia isn't as big as a matchup to others as it would be in football, but I thought about this, and this was a game. Well, I want to talk about the actual matchup for a second. I hope next season, because we'll be going on the road next season in the SEC ACC Challenge, I really hope we get a better draw. I really hope we want to play Notre Dame again. My dream draw was because I have family who is Virginia Tech fans. That was my draw, was Virginia Tech. I thought it would have been really cool to play Virginia Tech. Not the case this year. We had to play Notre Dame, and I personally would not mind going to Death Valley to play Clemson, but that just, they had other plans. They gave us Notre Dame, and Georgia wins at 69-48, and those beautiful red throwback uniforms. If I'm correct, we only wore them once this year, which is a shame, but yes, Georgia wins that game. Then after that is a game I was very nervous about. A lot of people were not excited and happy about this game being scheduled. They were like, oh, you took a home game away from Georgia. Why are we playing a team like Grand Canyon in Atlanta? The Grand Canyon game lived up to its hype. It was 73-68. Georgia wins. And this was a game where, Georgia wasn't getting anything. Grand Canyon was hitting our players under the rim. They were straight up abusing us, and we had to beat Grand Canyon, and we had to beat the officials that day, and Georgia did that 73-68. Also, one of the reasons that was one of my favorite games of the season is because they got to play on Atlanta Hawks court, so you saw the Atlanta Hawks emblems and logos while Georgia was playing on it. That was very cool. But then after they played Grand Canyon is one of my other favorite games of the season, Buffalo. And you talk about, now what happened to us yesterday was brutal, but we scored like the first 25 points or 23 points of this game. At one point it was 23-0 Georgia over Buffalo, and Georgia puts triple digits. They went 100-49. Then after that, the last two non-conference games, you're not really going to see it for the first game, but definitely in the second game, the Dogs really struggled to put these games away. They beat Charleston Southern 81-65, and then they beat South Carolina State 79-72. Which in that South Carolina State game they trailed at halftime by 17 points, came back and won. That they really didn't. They didn't lose these games, but people were like, why is Georgia struggling to Charleston Southern? And they had every right to believe that, because Charleston Southern was, playing good. They were playing really good basketball, and they had a few guys who just couldn't miss. But Georgia wins both those games once again, 81-65 and 79-72. And then after that, we move to SEC play. And wow, I can't believe it's March 21st. I can't believe our season's over like this. SEC play starts with a 63-51 loss at Ole Miss. And you're like, dang it, we almost had that game. I believe Georgia led at halftime or only trailed just a little bit, but second half, Ole Miss just blew us away in the second half. We tried to make a few rallies. We'd get on a few runs, but unfortunately not enough to stop Ole Miss. Then the best week of the season. This was one of the best weeks ever to be a University of Georgia Bulldogs basketball fan. They go on the road. I was looking at the Tennessee game for some reason because my screen froze. Anyway, Georgia plays Kentucky and Oklahoma at home. Ranked teams, might I add. Which, hey, by the way, is once Kentucky, a team you don't beat on a regular base. And we did. We beat number 6 Kentucky 82-69, and we beat Oklahoma 72-62. Wow, what a weekend. I'm getting a little emotional just thinking about this weekend. What a week this was for the University of Georgia Bulldogs basketball team. They beat number 6 Kentucky in a game Georgia never trailed in this game. If they did, it wasn't but a little bit. I cannot remember right now, but this was one of the best games we played all season long. I mean, wire to wire, we decimated Kentucky. It was just incredible. Yeah, Georgia never trailed this game. 47-34 at halftime. And then 35-35 in the second half. Georgia never trailed this game. Georgia played so great in this game. And they played, that was the kind of basketball that needed to be played against a team like Kentucky. And then after that, Oklahoma, 72-62. We did trail at the Oklahoma game, 36-33. But then after that, second half, boom, Dogs turn it on. I mean, second straight win over a top 25 team. That was just so wonderful. It was needed for this program. It was such a boost. And it absolutely is one of my favorite weeks of all time for Georgia basketball. I don't know what y'all think, but it has to be. That's how great of a week it was. Then after that, you play Oklahoma on Saturday. AP rankings come out Monday, and Georgia's ranked for the first time in a long time. First time ranked since 2011. I can't do 15 years, I believe. Wow. I remember being so happy, I almost teared up. I mean, and I'm sorry, somebody might say, well, you should know, I just woke up and I have no notes or anything. I'm just doing this. I'll do all my videos without scripts. So we are doing this straight up 100% just me thinking and rambling at the camera. But that week Georgia was ranked. That was, man, never would have thought I'd see that after going 6-26. And then after Georgia gets ranked, their reward is going to Tennessee and play the Volunteers, which unfortunately, Georgia led at halftime, if I remember correct. Yeah, 26-25. This was a very low-scoring game at one point. And then, if you're a Georgia basketball fan, you know how it went. Tennessee then proceeded to blow the doors off the Dogs, and we lost that game 74-56. And then Georgia's reward again for being ranked was playing Auburn, and this was a heartbreaking game, 70-68. Georgia was so close for beating a number one team, and had a crazy last few seconds. They were down like 8 or 9, and then hit a 3-pointer, and then Auburn would miss. We would go hit a 3-pointer. The final straw though was down 3. Georgia steals the inbound from Auburn and it goes into the corner. And we try a 3-pointer and it misses. And then free throw missed. And then or down 2, excuse me. We do that. And then at the last second of the game, Georgia has 0.3 seconds. And Silas Demery throws an inbound pass to Asa Newell right at the free throw line. He catches it and puts it up, and it almost dropped. It just hit the rim and spat out. And unfortunately for Georgia, unfortunately for us, that was it. Then after this, and that loss was one of the most hurtful ones, but this was one of the most heartbreaking ones. Was Wednesday, January 22nd versus Arkansas. Georgia played so good in the first half, and then kind of what doomed the Dogs all season long, having a slow second half, and it caught up to them. And we actually hit a shot late to tie it, and then we fouled Arkansas, and they hit the first free throw, and then they missed the second free throw, but we had nobody boxed out to get it, and they put it back up, and they actually throw it up at the horn just to add salt to our wound, and they win 68-65. And then after that, Georgia goes to Gainesville and gets smoked 89-59. That was just a bad game in general for Georgia. I really wish we could have put up a better fight in that game, but don't worry, because Georgia gets back in the win column, and they do so versus a team I dislike, South Carolina. Georgia beat South Carolina 71-60. That was the game where Bull has it, he's dribbling it. Dakota LaFew is dribbling it. He sees Asa Newell cutting right there. Dakota LaFew throws a behind the back pass to Asa for a slam dunk. Yes, indeed. Very, very fun game. What would not be fun would be the game after. Georgia loses to Alabama 90-69. It's just something about Alabama. We can't beat Alabama. We haven't beat Alabama since 2016 or 17, I believe, in basketball. But oh god, I always forget the 2022 game. I meant we hadn't beat Alabama at Alabama. We beat Alabama. We beat them in 2022, but I did forget I meant to say beat Alabama at Alabama. That's not happened since 2015 or 2016. They just kind of own us, I guess, in basketball. Which we're gonna if we get them a Stegman next year, we're gonna beat the brakes off Alabama if we get them a Stegman next year. After that, we play LSU. We win 81-62. It's always good to beat LSU. LSU. Georgia beats them 81-62. And now we're starting to get where the final push is needed. You only have a few more games left. And you need to win some games, or you're going to get eliminated from the NCAA tournament. And versus Mississippi State, this is a back and forth game. Unfortunately, we lost it 76-75, and it was a heartbreaking game. It was a very heartbreaking game because people really, really thought that Georgia could have won this game. A win in this game would have pretty much put Georgia in a better spot to make the tournament, which at that time we didn't know they were going to make the tournament. So we thought a lot of people thought they were out. I never gave up on this team. And in a few minutes you'll find out why. Unfortunately, Georgia once again goes on a 4-game losing streak. Mississippi State, Texas A&M 69-53 was just one of the worst second halves of basketball I've ever watched. I mean, that was horrible. That was one of the worst second halves I've ever watched in a basketball game. The only thing that could top that is, a week later, 87-74 over Missouri. Georgia loses to Missouri. Then after that, Dogs have a bye week where they won't play again to February 22nd. And let me tell you, something changed in this team after the bye week. Georgia did lose this game 82-70, but they played the number one team to the wire. They had them only down 2 or 5 points multiple times in the second half. Just unfortunately, Auburn's just way too good, and they lost. But then after that, the game of the year happens. Georgia gets out big versus the University of Florida Gators, and the date is February 25th. Georgia gets out big versus Florida. Then they come back. The Gators come back with a minute to play. They have the lead. They fought all the way back from being down as much as 25 points. And they come back, and people are thinking, oh Lord, it's the same thing we've seen over and over again. Then Blue Cane off a curl hits a 3-pointer. Yeah. Yes. Something good happened for Georgia. Off a curl, 88-83. That 3-pointer upsets number 3 Florida, a team you had not beat since 2019 and lost the last 11 against. You beat them 88-83. What a game. One night at Stegman Coliseum. They stormed the court. And you beat... To me, Georgia Tech's our arch rival, but to many of Georgia's fan base, it's Florida. You beat the team you have not beat since 2019, and hey, they happen to be your arch rival. What a game that was. That absolutely was an incredible game. And, you know, the images of the players with the fans storming the court will forever live, in my opinion, as some of the best photos of all time for Georgia sports. Then after that game, Georgia rides the wave of momentum and goes to Texas and beats Texas 83-67. They go to South Carolina and beat South Carolina 73-64. So if all not, Georgia's in the NCAA tournament, correct? Well, they add even more to it. They beat Vanderbilt 79-68 on senior day. Send the seniors out happy. And Georgia ends the regular season on a 4-game winning streak with wins versus Florida, Texas, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Wow. What a regular season. What a regular season. What a regular season it was. You had multiple losing streaks, but you managed to find a way to end it. And you do that. How wonderful. Then after that, Georgia gets into the SEC tournament. They unfortunately lose to Oklahoma 81-75. And I was upset we lost that game, but I could live with it. Because, why could I live with it? Because a few days later, on that Sunday, the University of Georgia Bulldogs basketball team would be called on March Madness Selection Sunday, and they'd be going dancing for the first time since 2015. I teared up. I really did. Jumped for joy, teared up. What a draw, or what a moment. What a moment. And we drawed Gonzaga, which was a very winnable game in my opinion. But even if we won or lost, I was just so proud of this team regardless. That finally let me see Georgia play in the NCAA tournament just absolutely meant the world to me. And, you know, I can't believe Georgia's name was called on March Madness. We'll get more to that in a second, though. How did the game go? Well, if I'm making this video, you kind of know how it went. Georgia unfortunately loses in the first round. Georgia unfortunately loses in the first round to Gonzaga 89-68. Gonzaga got off to a very, very hot start, 13-0. And then at one point, 27-3. We just could not stop Gonzaga at all. And what's horrible about it, and a lot of people have pointed this out, Georgia outscored Gonzaga the last 31 minutes of that game. And if it was not for that horrible start, Georgia would be playing Saturday. So Georgia's season ends there, and versus Gonzaga, and another 20-win season for the University of Georgia Bulldogs basketball team. We are making positive steps, ladies and gentlemen. You just have to trust it. You have to trust this team. You have to trust this program. This is going on. We are making positive moves. And being in the NCAA tournament for the first time in 10 years is a positive. Making the 20 wins positive. I mean, it was just wonderful. It was just wonderful. I mean, that's the only thing I could say. It was just wonderful, and I'm really, really sad that the season's ended. You know, people always say stuff when people wonder, like, why do you get so upset when the season ends? It's not that it's ended. It's not that they lost. It's that, you know, that's it. They won't play another game. That to me always hurts the most, because I mean, I love this team, and this is my favorite. This is my favorite program, favorite sports team out of all. And I love them, man. And you know, I feel sad when they don't play. And I don't want it to get lost in that tournament game. that how proud I am of this team for this season. This was a great season. Could not have scripted it any better. This is how it went. And I would have changed that tournament game, but I wouldn't have changed how anything else went. Because everything happened for a reason, right? Georgia went on 2 4-game losing streaks to come back and make the NCAA tournament. Now you tell me what's more impressive than that. All loss was gone. All you guys, half of you gave up. Half of you guys gave up. And to make the NCAA tournament after everything that happened was nothing short of incredible. And I mean, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said the goal is to make the tournament. Then after that, the goal now is to win games in the tournament. And I couldn't agree more. But this was a positive step for the program. This was a positive step for everybody involved with Georgia basketball. I'm just so proud of this program, man. I'm so proud of this team for making the NCAA tournament for the first time in 10 years. I can't explain. I'm just so proud. Thank you to all the players who played this season. Silas Demery, Asa Newell, Dakota LaFew, Blue Kane, Dylan James, Tyron Lawrence, RJ Godfrey, Santo Surreal. You know, I can keep naming them. I'm gonna very miss watching some of these guys play, because as the day ends, a day after this is recorded, a day after the season ends, Georgia has had no portal or anything open. There's rumors, but because there's rumors, I'm not gonna address them. I'm just sad our season's over. Thank you all to coaches. Coach Mike White, how about the job you did this season, man? NCAA tournament, and I'm sure you wanted it more, but I hope you can sit back and look and say, wow, you know, I got our team to the NCAA tournament. And I hope you can. I hope you can look back at it and say that, you know, I hope you're proud of what you did this year, man, because that was a rough point there for a little bit. 4 straight losses twice. Managed to make the NCAA tournament. That's wonderful. Scott Chuck, thank you so much to Scott, Chuck, Adam, and Luke. I love listening to every game. It's literally something. It's one of the only things I enjoy in my life. This program overall is one of the only things I enjoy in my life, if we're being honest. You know, I wish we were still playing and listening to you guys, but yeah, thank y'all. Cannot wait to hear y'all next season too. And lastly, you know, thanks to the people, thanks to Georgia basketball Twitter, thanks to the fans. I know there's a lot of people who don't like me, but at the same time too, I always try to, I put this program first, and I always try to do what's best for Georgia basketball, because I know there's a lot of people who aren't going to give them anything. They're not going to give them attention. They're not going to give them the recognition they deserve. And I always try to put this program first for everything. That's how much it means to me. This program just means so much to me, man. Georgia basketball means so much to me. And I just want to continue saying I am so proud of this team for making the NCAA tournament. Now what happens next year? And I said it last year. I said it last night. There's only a few games I know of that Georgia will be playing next year. They're obviously going to be opening up the season to South Carolina, playing Xavier, Clemson, or somebody. They're obviously going to play Georgia Tech. And then, you know, Auburn, Florida, and South Carolina. You know you're going to play those games 2 times. So, I don't know what's next with Georgia's schedule. That's what we'll look at next. And if Georgia gets any portal additions, or, you know, people leave, which is rumored to happen right now. Could happen this very minute right now, actually. But Well, I'm not going to address that stuff until it's official, because I do not want to cause anything with people, with players, or anything like that. So I will not address any of that till it happens. The documentary will be out soon. If I could get that out tonight too, that would be wonderful. That ain't gonna happen though, but it needs to be. It'll be a few days, but again, I'm just so proud of this program. I am so proud of this program. I love this program so much. I love Georgia basketball, and I'm just so proud of the fact they were able to get this far. I am so proud that they made the NCAA tournament. I had never watched my team in the NCAA tournament. It hurts. It hurts seeing, the family members you like watch West Virginia in the tournament, or Virginia Tech make a run to the tournament. And it hurts me seeing that all my friends of the other teams I have, their teams in the NCAA tournament. I've never got to see mine in the NCAA tournament. That changed this year. And I'm so proud and thankful. Georgia finally played the NCAA tournament. And I'm just so thankful and so proud of everybody along with this program for making that happen. So what do you think? Do you think Georgia's season was a success? Do you think that, they could have did more? Were you shocked at how good Georgia was this year? What do you think? Tell me in the comments, what do you think about our season? But that's a wrap. Chapter 24-25 is closed. And we look to open chapter 25-26 next season. Thank you all so much for watching my coverage of Georgia basketball all season long, through the exhibition game versus Charlotte to the end of the season. I thank you all so much for watching and listening to Georgia basketball with me all season long. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm once again just so proud of this program for making it as far as we did in an NCAA tournament appearance. Thank you guys so much for everything all season long. And go Hoop Dogs.
Dogs do the improbable, the unthinkable, the unbelievable. They beat Arkansas and go wire to win the SEC tournament.